Hello everyone, welcome to my sketching class. Um, Today I'm going to show you how to sketch an orangutan. We're going to use this photo for reference. We're using the book called Animal, published by DK. And we are on page 183. To start the sketch, we're going to start with the circle. The circle will be about 1/3 of the width of our sketching page. Try to make the circle as round as you can. We draw a horizontal line that passes the middle of the circle, and the horizontal line should be parallel to the top and the bottom edges of our sketching page. We divide the diameter inside the circle into two parts. Use your pencil and your thumb to measure the half right of the diameter and compare it to the half left. We need to make sure two lengths are in the same size. We draw a vertical line that passes the mark we just made. And of course, the line should be straight and parallel to the left and the right edges of our sketching page. You can use ruler if you would like. We divide all the radiuses inside the circle into 4 even parts. We divide each radius into 2 parts. We check with our pencil, and then we divide each half right here into 2 parts. We do the same to the rest. If you're not sure, use your pencil and your thumb to check. We draw a horizontal line that passes the first mark at the bottom radius. We draw 2 vertical lines that pass the second and the third marks on the right radius. Add another 2 vertical lines that pass the third mark on the left radius and the first mark on the right radius. When you draw the eye, we're gonna start at the second horizontal line. We place a curve that is between the third and the fourth vertical lines. The curve is slightly curved to the left Okay, let's get grumpy a little bit. So when you draw the top of the eye, we make the line curly. Like that. You can see that the line keeps going to the top right, but it's curved to the top first, and then lightly curved to the bottom. When it's about to reach the first horizontal line, we turn the line to the right. Stop when you pass, or reach the last vertical line. Look at this curve right here. It passes the middle of the gap between the first and the second horizontal line. That's how you can check if you got the line in the right spot. And then from the intersection between the fourth vertical line and the curve we just made, we draw a curve that is slightly curved to the top. And when you are about to reach the second horizontal line, add another curve. This curve is slightly curved to the bottom. It touches the second horizontal line. If you have the book, make sure that you look at the reference. Like human, he has a bullet. So we draw a little curve like that. You do have lower lid, and the lower lid will be skinnier than the upper lid. You can see that I sketched really gently. Hold your pencil farther in the back. I would like you to draw a little curve like this. This curve will determine the muscle of the eyebrow, but it's lighter than the curve for the eye socket. When you draw the left eye, it will be similar, but we need to determine the gap between two eyes. I'm gonna make it easy by starting the left eye at the middle of the gap between the second and the third vertical lines. At the middle of the gap between the first and the second horizontal, I'm going to draw a curly line. You can see that the line is going to the top left. From the right to the left, it will be curved to the bottom. As it goes to the top, it will be lightly curved to the top. But you can see that the line does not pass the first horizontal line. It will slide to the bottom left, like that. You can make a mark on the second horizontal line, like that. So this is the eye socket, but you don't want to make it too dark. From the intersection between the second horizontal line and the second vertical line, we draw a curve that is slightly curved to the bottom. And we stop when we pass the first vertical line. When you draw the left eye, because of perspective, the left eye will be a little bit wider than the right eye. It does have an upper lid on the top. And then from the intersection between the second horizontal line and the first vertical line, we draw a curve in a similar way for the lower lid. I know this part is tricky because, you know, his character is similar to human, and drawing eyes are tricky for some students. So you want to spend about 20 seconds or 30 seconds to put your sketch far away and check if you got the shape correct. you can see that the gap between two eyes right here is similar or as wide as an eye. From the intersection between the first horizontal and the first vertical line, we draw a little curve like that for the eyebrow muscle. Check the guideline, follow the guideline. You can pause the video, take your time to check. And you can see that because if you have the reference, you don't see hard outline for the eyebrow. That's why when I sketch really lightly. And later on when we use Q-tip to blend, it will be soft. It will not look too dark like the eyes. Okay. To determine the nose, we're gonna draw two horizontal lines that pass the second and the third marks on the bottom radius. You need to make sure that they all parallel to each other. From the intersection between the third horizontal line and the fourth vertical line, we draw a little curve that is slightly curved to the left and slight to the bottom right. So that will be the outline of the mouth, and we're gonna draw the nose inside. We make a mark on the last horizontal line, which is between the third and the fourth vertical lines. We draw a curve that is just slightly curved to the top, and the line is going toward the intersection between the third horizontal line and the fourth vertical line. But when you are about to reach the third horizontal line, make the line curve. You can divide the gap between the curve we just made and the third vertical line into two parts for the gap between two nostrils. Draw another curve. You can see that this curve is wider, but the top of the second curve will be as high as the top of the first curve. Because of perspective, the left nostril will look wider than the right one. From the intersection between the third horizontal and the second vertical line, we draw 1 and 2 curves lightly, like that, really gently. For the border between, the skin, the texture on the skin, and the texture on the mouth. If you have the book, you will see that the texture on the mouth is really smooth, but the texture on the face kind of rough. It looks like he has a lot of wrinkle. Then we will need to duplicate half of a radius. We put the pencil on the second vertical line, and we'll make sure that the tip of the pencil touches the third horizontal line. We put our thumb and our index at the bottom of the circle, so now we have the length of half of a radius. We move the pencil to the bottom and we stop when the tip of the pencil touches the circular line. And then we're gonna mark the top of the thumb right here. One more time. We measure, move the pencil to the bottom. We stop when the top of the pencil touches the bottom of the circle, and we make a mark on the top of our thumb. And we draw a horizontal line. We add a vertical line that passes the second mark on the left radius. Remember the curve we made earlier under the eye? We turn the line to the bottom and make a curve that is slightly curved to the right like that. Before you reach the last horizontal line, we stop there and draw a curve. This curve will touch the last horizontal line. You can see that the line is kind of flat. But when you are about to reach the second vertical line, it will slide to the top. From the intersection between the fourth horizontal line and the second vertical line, we draw the border for the mouth and the face. The line will keep going to the bottom right. It looks like it's going toward the lip. But before you reach the last horizontal line, we add another curve, like that. We need to duplicate half of a radius one more time. And we divide the gap between the fifth horizontal line and the sixth horizontal line into two parts. We add another horizontal line. At the middle of the gap between the fifth and the sixth vertical lines, we draw a curve. This curve will not touch the sixth horizontal line. It will be curved the most, it will be lowest when it's between the fourth and the fifth vertical lines. And then turn the line to the top left. The lower lip will not pass the second vertical line. We draw 1 and 2 curve for the gap between two lips. You can see that the lower lip will be thickest at the middle. It will become skinnier as it goes to the left, to the right. And of course, make sure that you draw a wavy line for the chin. Make it light because later on we're going to use the shading technique to add further texture to out here. Hold your pencil far away in the back. Now we're going to draw line for the border between the fur and the mouth. Just like it. We duplicate half of a radius to the right side of the circle and draw a vertical line. We also draw a vertical line that passes the right side of the circle. On the left side, we draw a vertical line that passes the left side of the circle first. And then we duplicate half of a radius to the left side of the circle. To draw the flange, we're going to start at the fifth horizontal line. We draw a curve that is slightly curved to the top, not too obvious. We make the line slide to the top right, and when you are about to reach in the last vertical line, turn the line to the top. From the intersection between the first horizontal line and the last vertical line, draw a curve that is slightly curved to the right. On the left side, we draw in a similar way. We start at the fifth horizontal line and draw a little curve. Turn the line to the top left and make it touch the first vertical line. You can see that it passes the intersection between the fourth horizontal line and the first vertical line. And make it go to the top. Then in order to determine the top of the head, we gonna draw two horizontal lines that pass the second mark of the top radius and the top of the circle. At the seventh vertical line, we draw a curve for the middle of the forehead. When you reach the sixth vertical line, add another curve, and then draw a curve that is slightly curved to the bottom. Turn the line to the right, and draw the shape for the forehead. You can see that it's kind of low. It doesn't touch the first horizontal line. We draw the left one in a similar way. You need to make sure that the top left and the top right of the forehead are in the same level. From the intersection between the flange on the left and the second vertical line, we draw a curve like this, really light. You want to check your sketch, like take about 20 seconds to check your sketch. Make sure the dark lines are dark, the light lines are light. We'll duplicate half of a radius to the top of the circle and draw a horizontal line to determine the very top of the head, not the flange. At the intersection between the first horizontal line and the third vertical line, we draw a curve that is slight to the bottom right. We make the line lightly curved to the top and turn the line to the bottom right. It does not pass the last vertical line. We turn the line to the bottom left and make it past the middle of... make it past the intersection between the second horizontal line and the first vertical line. That's all we need. When you're done with this step, put your sketch far away or list one arm far away, check the sketch and see how it looks. See if you need to modify any details. If you feel like you're not sure, check the guidelines and see if the lines, the outlines pass any spots, any intersection, or what lines they pass. When you're done, we're gonna erase. We're gonna use eraser. Erase the circle, all the horizontal lines and vertical lines. when you're done erasing all the guidelines, use cotton ball, squeeze it, and then with a circular pattern, soften the outline. If you have the reference, you will see that the eye is bright. It's brighter than the upper lid and the lower lid. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna work on the area around the eye first, and then we're gonna shade it the eye later. Let's work on the right eye. You can see that I will start from the corner between the upper lid and the eye socket. I use circular pattern shade lightly to the right, really gently. The more I go to the right, the less I'm gonna shade. Make sure your pencil is well sharpened. It shows the depth of the eye socket. And then from the curly line on the top, lightly shade the upper lid, but the upper lid will not be as dark as the eye socket. From the left side, we do the same thing. The valley at the bottom of the lower lid will be darker than the top. You can see that I use circular pattern to darken the outline and make the outline blurry. I want to use curved line to shade a little bit to make the eye smaller. And then the light comes from the top right to the bottom left. I want to draw a little circle on the top right of the eye for the highlight. Really tiny. His pupil is tiny. We use circular pattern to darken the top of the iris, but still make sure that it's lighter than the upper lid and the eye socket. I want to use Q-tip, brush the lighter value first. And then from the bottom of the eye, I go to the top. I go over the highlight. With little graphite I have on the Q-tip, I'm going to use that to blend the curve we made earlier at the top. Use curve line to blend from the outline for the forehead to the right, just a little bit. Use curve line, blend like that, so it will show the rhythm of the eye socket. Then, of course, we need to go back and touch up the eye socket, the value on the very top. the left side of the lower lid. Use sharp eraser. Tap the highlight, make it brighter. Like that, you can see that when we have the highlights for the eye look, more alive. We move on to the next part. When you draw the left eye, it will be similar. We're gonna work on the top, on the upper lid first. Use curved light shade the upper lid. And then the lower lid. We draw the highlight on the top right of the eye and the pupil. We shade around the highlights a little bit to make it bright. Then, from the right to the left, we blend. When you shade, we shade from the darker value to the lighter value, but when you blend from the lighter value to the darker value. Use the Q-tip, shade the upper lid. Shade the eyebrow muscle. You can see that it doesn't make sense. It looks kind of awkward right now because the left eye is brighter than the right eye. It doesn't show the depth inside the eye. It is fine. We just blend it to make sure that we cover up all the white spot. And then we use pencil from the very top of the eye socket. We shade lightly to the bottom. The more we shade to the bottom, the less we're gonna shade. We are touching up. We are not shading everything again. We just touch up the darkest area. I want to use curved light to create the eyeball inside the eye. Use eraser with a sharp angle to make the highlights brighter. And keep in mind that the value around the eye should be brighter than the value inside the eye. Touch up the top right here. You can see that depends on the value of the error. I will move my pencil I will hold my pencil at the very top or at the very bottom. If we go into the very dark, tiny detail, you need to hold it like this. But if you would like to create soft value, hold it far away. It helps a lot. Then, for the next part, we shade the nostril. We shade from the very top of the outline to the bottom. And the more you go to the center, the less you're gonna shade. Use circular pattern shade from the bottom to the top. You see that it's very important, like how we sketch human face. We got the nose, lips, eyes, right? We can show the character, the personality of human. I want to use Q-tip from the bottom to the top, blend the nostril. From the bottom to the top, blend the lower lip, and use Q-tip. Create fur pattern like that. It's soft. It doesn't have to be really obvious. And we brush really gently. We're not smudging. That. Hold your pencil photo in the back. If you have the book, you will see that the texture on the face is kind of different from the mouth. It's rough. So we use a small circular pattern like that. It's a shade. We start from the outline, and the more we go to the less we're gonna shade. You can see that I do not shade it everywhere. I focus on the bottom and near the mouth. And when you shaded the left side, you can see that I do not touch the outline of the flange. And this will make the blanch look like round, not flat. Do the same to the right. That. In order to show the gap between the head and the flange, we have to hold our pencil photo in the back and create fur texture. They are dark and darker than the beard, so we have to shade. We have to use pencil to shade it. We cannot use Q-tip to brush. And look at the reference if you have the book to see the pattern, the direction of the fur. We cannot use straight line to shade, because the fur is made with curved patterns, curved lines. Keep all the lines close to each other. You can see that the fur is dark when it's close to the flange. It's because of the lighting, not because of the color. And all the time the neck will be darker than the face because the face casts a shadow on the neck and the chest. You can see that shadow is really important. If you understand his character, you can show the depth, the three-dimensional perspective. And then I'll hold my pencil far away, same thing, and lightly shade the beard, the mustache. The bottom will be darker than the top, but the beard or the fur on the mouth will not be as dark as the fur on the back and the chest. You can see that if we have two layers next to each other, you have to pick which one is darker, which one is brighter. You can't make them similar because it will look confusing. I want to touch up the value on the flange a little bit. And then I want to use Q-tip, comb his hair, his fur. When you brush, you have to follow the pattern for the shading. If you use curved lines to shade it, you have to use curved lines to blend. If you use circular pattern to shade it, then you have to use circular pattern to blend. That's the safest way to blend. But if you get into advanced level, you can do whatever you want. Depends on your intention. You can see that the fur look darker and smoother, right? It looks more cohesive, like unified into one area. And then from the bottom, I'm going to use Q-tip to brush the beard. I know that the right flange is brighter than the left, so I'm going to work on the right. You can see that right now our Q-tip has a lot of graphite. We can use that to shade a little bit on the lighter value. So it will help us create a transition between the dark value and the lighter value. That's why when you blend, you want to blend from the lighter value to the darker value, not from the darker value. Because if you blend from the darker value to the lighter value, it will make the sketch kind of messy, especially if you don't have experience. I'm gonna blend a little bit from the border between the face and the nose. And then go all the way to the bottom left. I remember that the top of the left flange is brighter than the bottom, so I go from the top the bottom. You can see that I didn't touch the gap between the value on the flange and the value on the fur. So it looks like there's little highlights right here, but this highlights right here is not white. It's just bright and brighter than the flange and the fur. So when you're done blending the flange, you can go over and fill in that gap to make the sketch more subtle. I want to use cotton ball with a circular pattern to create soft valley around the creature. Then go back. Work on the darkest area. Relax your hand. Make the fur or the lines finer, smaller, and again you can see that it's not like we are shading everything again. We're touching up the darkest area, and the line now becomes smaller and kind of closer to each other. You can see the eye focus mostly on the bottom. I do not shade everywhere, because if you shade everywhere, it just makes the value darker, but does not show the depth. Some texture for the fur, and then I want him to smile, so I'm gonna add a lip corner on the left. You can see that when we have two dots on the lip corners, it looks like he's smiling, right? Hold my pencil far away in the back, touch up some dark value on the forehead. And now make sure that the left side is darker than the right. So when you're done, you can go ahead and sign your work at the bottom right. Make sure you date your work. Then I'm gonna sign my stamp my work with red color. So I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.